Welcome back to Shore Sports Talk on 94.3 The Point, sponsored by Shoreline Wealth Management. I am Vin Ebenau, here to guide you through a continuation of this hour on Sports Talk here Sunday morning. And with me again is Nico Steriti, who is the founder of S3 and also the lead organizer of the Elite 7v7 football tournaments, most recently in Jackson Township last weekend, with a lot of local Jersey Shore, Ocean County talent showing off their skills in one-on-ones and in team challenges, and a lot of impressive players from around the Shore Conference taking the field last weekend. A little cloudy and windy one day, a lot of sunshine, but fantastic play both days last weekend, and we're going to recap it here this morning. Nico, welcome back onto the show. Fantastic tournament last weekend, my friend.
Vin, as always, thanks for having us. And thank you for being the voice of Elite 7v7 this past weekend. You know, I hope it was a good experience for you, and you're absolutely correct. The talent was out, and a lot of kids, you know, really, really impressed me. So I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
There we go. You know, I think everybody was getting the feel for it. I could tell some of the football players wanted to really show and impress. A lot of them looked more comfortable day two. You know, figuring out, okay, now I know what's expected. Now I know who I'm playing with and what I'm going to be playing. You know, that and the fact that there was elimination games on day two as well, I think kind of stepped up the competition. But both days, a lot of them looked really good, and some just kind of continued what they were doing from day one to day two. And one player I want to highlight first, we'll go into a bunch of them here, is the Todd Walker MVP, Jason Lahara from Brick Memorial. I mean, this kid, I know he's going to be a sophomore, but, I mean, the Mustangs have a star in the making there. I mean, looked really good, great reads from the defense, threw the ball well downfield, accurate, on time. He had a lot of great skill players with him as well, but, I mean, he just looked absolutely fantastic and amazing on the field, and looked like a really great young man off the field as well, with talking with the other players.
Yeah, man, you hit it right on the head. Jason, he was surprise of the weekend. You know, I had a lot of athletes coming. I expected to do what they did, and they also were all MVP candidates. There was kids making plays all over the field. It was just with Jason, you know, his vision and the way he saw the field and how the ball would leave his hands in perfect timing for the receivers in stride. You know, that was important. Sure, he still made mistakes. Sure, he threw interceptions, but he also, you know, had an interception for a touchdown on defense. He always found the way to, like, you know, get back what he made a mistake, and that's what the Todd Walker MVP represents. Now, Nazir Whitaker, he was his receiver on the other end from Brick Memorial. Yeah. He's a running back.
Wow.
And he was catching the ball looking like DK Metcalf Jr.
There you go.
I mean, he wasn't
he looked really
6'4", but his hands were so strong. He was just squeezing the ball out of the sky no matter where it was. He didn't drop one pass all weekend in games. I didn't see him drop one pass.
Yeah.
And every time he looked, that kid was in the end zone. And then Nazir Matthews was really good for that team. And then you had Alexander Colon. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, from Lakewood. You had Ricky Dillon from Brick Memorial. They had a lot of players on that team.
Jaden
Johnson. Who's that? Ramel Anderson. He's from Lakewood. Jaden Johnson from Old Brick. So what's cool is what we're doing is we allow kids kind of build their own teams.
Okay.
You know, like it's like a pickup game at the park, 5-on-5, you know, like
nice.
Pick up your 7 to pick up your 10 and come ball out. And now you have a chance to get exposure, because not every kid's the starter on varsity, you know.
Right.
High schools organizing their 7v7s is completely different than what we're doing.
Yeah.
We'd like to build a better relationship with high school teams, but, you know, at this point, there's a lot of kids who aren't starting varsity that want to get on the field, and that's what we target. We target that 8th grade into junior class, you know, because the younger they're out there competing over time, the better the football will become over here in terms of urgency. You can already see it, you know, like what I evaluate and what I watch is 2 days of no pads, okay, running around, playing football for 3 to 4 hours. In terms of sitting around, you're not playing for 3 to 4 hours. You had 4 20-minute periods day one. Okay, so how long is that? That's an hour and 20 minutes of football practice. That's not even halfway through a college practice.
Sure, yeah.
It's 2 hours and 30 every day, okay? So you had no pads on. Day 2, they all came like slow moving, sore. They only 2-game elimination. There was no 1v1 period. So they only played 2 to 4 games, depending if they, kept winning.
Yeah.
Same thing, And I talked to a few kids on Monday. They couldn't move. It was the hardest workout they've ever been through.
Wow.
That's what we want. We want to simulate the game of football, not just simulate drills and cones. Come play football, run around, get coached up in the off season, and get involved with your athletes, your community, whoever you want to bring.
Absolutely. And then
and what makes me laugh, is like that's 2 days. A college Division I camp is 30. So every day from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, not only does your body feel crazy, but you have to produce and perform every single day.
Yeah.
And you can't let them know you're that sore. And then in-season starts, and then weight room, and then your body's sore, and then you have practice during the week in class. So that's what I'm evaluating. I'm looking at kids to see if they could play Division I football in terms of the full spectrum.
Sure.
Not just catching the ball and throwing the ball. Is this kid going to show up every morning and be on time, not be a headache for the coach, be a good teammate? I could coach him up. For instance, Jason Lahara, there was a lot of scramble about the blitzing, and he had a lot of on the field it was getting a little bickery, and I just looked at him. I was like, dude, let it go. And he just looked at me. He's like, okay, coach. That's very hard for a kid to do in today's generation. The attitude, sometimes there's too much of an attitude. He understood it. You can't be complaining and bickering on the field and being the quarterback.
Right.
You got to be silent and get ready for the next snap and get everybody organized, because that's what's next. Your complaint's not going to change. Let your coach do that. That's what I learned in college, luckily. My head coach would always say that, and he would go out there and put his neck out for his players, no matter what. Literally, no matter what. Some of the things I heard him say to referees, I don't know how, he didn't get, kicked off the field. But they had respect for him because he was in it for 20 to 30 years, so they already knew what they were getting with my head coach in college.
Players coach.
Yeah. Yeah, he put his neck out for you on game day, especially if you got cheap shotted, stuff like that. He'd rather you walk away, and then he's going to run out there and get in the ref's face.
What did with Lahara? What did you see with him in the pocket? I know it's not full. It wasn't full 11 on 11. He wasn't feeling the pass rush or whatever from a defensive end. But did you sense that he was getting the grasp of the timer of how long he had to throw the ball, and that he was able to get it off successfully?
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, a lot of these kids are still underdeveloped. They're still raw. The exceptional ones are already there. Those are the kids who already got D1 offers, 8th, 9th grade. Their bodies are developed. All their mechanics, for the most part, are pretty fluent, and then they got to keep getting experience. But Jason, he had some little hiccups, patting the ball a little too much, things like that. I'd rather him use his eyes more. He uses his offhand, telling receivers where to go, which is still cool. You see NFL quarterbacks doing that, so that means he's looking downfield. But when it came to throwing the football, that kid had a sidearm grip. He did not hold the laces. He doesn't hold the laces. He holds the leather.
Wow.
And he was throwing that thing like Nolan Ryan, slinging it from the side, right off his hand, flicking it and making tough throws, far throws, being on the right hash and hitting a 6-yard, 7-yard out on the left hash in stride. Hitting deep balls, and kids are catching it in stride, full speed. So he was showing, and then he was hitting posts, he was hitting slants. He was a very good football. And then he could read the blitz. When people blitz, he'd move and he'd make a play, opposed to the other quarterbacks who weren't thinking. He was using his body language, okay, I'm gonna lure you in. I'm gonna look this way. Once I catch the snap, I'm juking left and I'm making a move. That's someone who could see a play before it happens. He has a vision. Yeah, that's what I see. And
he had a pretty, as we mentioned earlier in the conversation, a pretty loaded team. I know they were called Team FNB, but
Fear nobody.
Skill players on that team. I mean, those guys just looked outstanding, running routes, catching the ball, knowing where the cornerbacks or the safeties were in the 7-on-7s. They just looked really, really good together.
They played together. They didn't argue with each other. They didn't fight. And that's something you learn in football. That's the recipe. You know, great coaches teach teams how to play together, come together, and have respect for one another, because everyone's out here to get better. So if you ain't looking to your left and right to your teammate and having respect for them, it's very difficult to win a championship. And that's what I learned. I played in 2 national semifinals in the FCS, and I played in the high school semifinal. So, you know, in those games, when you're with that staff and you're with those teammates, you kind of develop to a point where you have a recipe. You have an experience that not many people have, you know? When I walk out on the football field, I look around and I tell myself how many people out here have played on ESPN2 on a Friday night.
Yeah.
You know, on a semifinal game. Like,
right.
Who prepared for that? Like, I prepared for that. You know, I played with under coaches who prepared me for that. I had teammates who helped prepare me for that. And through that experience, that's what I want to give back to the kids, is how to prepare at the highest level. So then when they do step on the field, their coaches can actually coach them. You know what I'm saying? They're prepared for coaching. They're prepared. You know, we're trying to like trim the fat for the coaches a little bit. You know, these first 2 tournaments, we've allowed teams to bring their own coach or coach yourselves, or our coaching staff can help your team.
Okay.
But our style is a camp style. We are a camp style 7v7 tournament series, period. For college prospect development and exposure, period. There were some programs associated with our prior event that missed that memo and didn't understand that we are not just a 7v7 like host for your organizations to run amok. You know, that's not what's going on here.
Right.
Our coaches played college football.
Yeah.
Villanova, Wesley, Pace, Marist. You know, like they're playing college football currently. You know, I played Division I football, and the guys I surround myself with are people who love football. So I pay them money to coach kids on the field. That's their job. On top of run the event with me.
Yeah.
But you see a kid backpedaling wrong, pull him to the side, go over it. You know. And then if there's coaches there at the time who I have relationships with, I let them come on the field and I let them help out because they have respect for the game. But the coaches who are cursing and putting kids down and are derogatory, and then when there's adults in the stands yelling at kids, yelling at our officials, yelling at our coaches, I just have zero tolerance. And I gave that memo out going into day 2. You know, it was very clear what my expectations were, because I come from a strict line of coaches. You know, Sean McDonald, he was the warden on that football field. There was grown men out there, you know, coaches, players, and they couldn't step over that line because he had work to do, and his work was to make sure we got better. That was his job.
Yeah.
So my job when I'm out there is to make sure those kids get better. Period. And when other distractions affect that, any really good coach is going to put down the hammer. Because how do you get control of your field?
Right.
When you got a bunch of adults and kids running around cursing, yelling. It's no good. So then eventually you have to become reserved and quiet and let your staff take over.
Teach good sportsmanship.
You do your best. And that was the message going into day 2. What message are we leading these kids if we can't? You know, like just let this be what it is. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. But this is competitive development.
Right.
If you played at a high level, you'd come to this and be, yo, this is really cool. These kids are getting pass game looks. They're getting real long field, reps, like real in-game long field reps. You got kids taking pick sixes for 99 yards. Where else can you do that?
Right.
Nowhere. With the top exposure, you can't, we're trying to build something really cool here, and we're moving around. We want to go to Maryland. We want to go to New Hampshire, Colorado, Cali, Florida. Everyone's hitting us up. Texas.
Wow.
Mississippi. Everyone's hitting us up. Do you come here? Do you come here? Because they're seeing what we're doing in comparison to everyone else, what we're doing is a little bit different, and we're going to get better.
Yeah.
There will be no coaches now from outside. It's a player-only participant situation. You could coach yourselves. Which team? FMB? Their quarterback coached them.
Which
was
another
Jason.
skill set, yeah.
They did not have an adult on the field. They didn't have a playbook, nothing. He coached them on the field and told them what to run. And they just were silent assassins.
Impressive.
Happy as all.
High football IQ.
When we had coaches on the field and the play clock was running too long and they weren't satisfied, we were getting a lot of things I didn't like. And we didn't have that problem tournament 1. We had a little hiccups. You're always going to get that. Tournament 2, we had some issues with adults, you know. I wasn't really prepared for that, you know. So moving forward, we'll have security there, you know. Ain't nobody getting in my face on the field. Like, that's just not going to happen. You know, and my staff's going to be calm, cool, and collected like they were. You know, all of us were cool.
Yeah.
You know, we handled the situation pretty well, anything that did arise, because you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with...
Right. You guys did the right thing.
And even with the kids on the field, when they're bickering, there's things going on that you don't hear, you know, from up top. Like, you got to find a way as a coach to calm down the situation and remind them,
right,
buddy, we're not shoving people to the ground. Run by, slap his hip. That goes and tells me that you could have been there for the tackle. That's a good, solid rep.
Yeah, for what a
Let's
7-on-7
learn how to
is.
practice. Yeah. But we had certain kids who wanted to keep shoving kids to the ground, the smaller kids. Now, behind the scenes, of course, like you gotta love physicality. That's good. That's football.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But learn how to practice so we could get better.
Right.
So I couldn't I had to yell at that kid, like, dude, stop, get him off the field, like, take a rep off. I've been telling you 3-4 times, you know. But then I pulled him aside, I explained, I was like, yo, listen, I love the physicality, but you have to understand how to practice here, how to get better. And he appreciated that. That's coaching.
Teaching, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of coaches we want at our club.
Help them grow in the game and understand the game a little bit better. So
I'm the coach,
multiple ways to be a football
player. You're the player. You know what I'm saying? You're the child. I'm the adult. And that's it. That's how it was when I was a player until my career was over. You know, you have to listen. You have to take it. You know, your coach is there for you, and that's it. But you know, this is the whole reason why now I'm getting into youth football.
That's
you
right.
know, like I really want to get my hands on football young because I want kids to learn it the right way. There's adults out there that aren't really teaching kids the right way, and that's why I'm volunteering my time. Never coached youth football, at least not since I was young. But I wanna give those kids the experiences I had in youth football.
Yeah, the
good coaches. I had a Marine as my coach. A Marine. Wow. And I'll never forget that summer. I'll never forget the conditioning. It was some of the hardest conditionings we ever did is in football. We were like 12 years old. So that's kind of what I want to offer to these kids. It's like discipline, work ethic, come together, and then like the basic fundamentals: catching the ball, throwing the ball, form tackle, understanding your alignment, your assignment. Right, alignment, assignment. Like there's all little branches to the game. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Did you find that last weekend with the lessons that you and the other coaches on your staff with working with these young players over the course of the 2 days that they picked up on a lot of these lessons, not just with, you know, how to throw the ball, how to catch the ball, but all the intangibles in between, how to run plays, how to read a defense, you know, how to be a football player, how to be a good teammate, you know, all the things that you wanted to get out to these players in Jackson last weekend that they're like, okay, now I know what to do or how to do it or when to do it.
Yeah, the kids who were open and receptive to it, you know, they took the coaching well.
Right.
I could pull a kid to the side, be like, dude, calm down. It's all right. Like, try this next time. And they'd be like, all right, coach, thanks. I appreciate that. You know, like, that's what we want. That's the atmosphere we want on the field is kids to make mistakes in games with this kind of atmosphere where nobody's spearing each other, nobody's colliding, you know, like, and we're doing our best to get out healthy. We got out relatively healthy. We had 2 little muscle strains at the most severity.
Okay.
You know, a hamstring strain and a quad strain, you know, of 2 kids who already had prior little tight injuries. So everyone got out healthy. Nobody like, you know, like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to let them make plays, get exposure, and get coached up while it's happening, you know, by people who played, who could be, yo, I'm watching your back pedal, you're not low.
Yeah.
I'm coaching quarterbacks up like, dude, you got to have a sense of urgency, because at the highest level, they'd be ripping you apart. You watch the film, they're going to be, what the heck was this? Rewind. I'd be like, yo, you better figure that out, son. Like, that looks like you have no heart. They call that a loaf. Lack of effort. Loaf. And if you have a rep on film, that's a loaf. You get it put on your category. And then the coaches have a whiteboard in the room with all the players' names and the position. And you see your loafs by the end of camp with all your competitors in the room. That stuff used to, oh man, I hated that. I hated it. My position coach used to give me loafs for particular things. Stupid things. Like, I got pancaked once on my back by an upperclassman. Oh, wow. Brian McNally. He was a defensive end. He's a state trooper in New York now. His nickname was Beast. You know, his arms were down to his calves. He was like 265 at 6'3", and he was like a freakazoid. They put me as a true freshman, or going into my freshman year, they put me at the H-back position to go block him backside, full, kick him out from the right side behind the tackle, across the formation, kick out the defensive end who's coming down. So obviously I do my Hail Mary, I do my, and I go full speed into him like a battering ram. And he just his arms were so long. He just grabbed me before I can even get to him and just put me on my back.
Oh, well, there it is.
And I was on my back just laughing. Is this a joke, My coach gave me a loaf for not getting up off the ground quick enough.
Wow.
They call it hot stove. If you're down, you got to think it's like a hot stove on you. You got to get up. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're injured. That's a different scenario. If you ain't injured, then why are you laying down? Get up. That's what it is at the D1 level. You're getting evaluated for after you get pancaked. Why didn't you get up quick enough?
Yeah.
I got a loaf for that. So these kids have no idea. So I'm trying to give them a little taste of it at the highest level.
Yeah, well, of what's ahead, yeah.
I had a really good time with these kids. There were some really good football players.
Oh, absolutely.
And what's cool is within a year, by next year, we're going to invite particular kids to our own team. Okay. Where we're going to go compete in other tournaments. Cam Newton's team.
There you go.
Damian Lillard's team. Destroying AJ Green. All those guys, they go to Pylon, all those big tournaments. Battle 7-on-7. Elite 77 is going to show up with a squad.
There you go.
And we're going to be in pinstripes and American flag uniforms.
I like
helmets,
that.
Uniforms, everything. We're the number one national team. No one's going to be able to touch our team. No chance. Because our level of coaching is completely different. We're not trying to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're trying to coach the kids up, let them play, let them compete. Just be like the bumper lanes. That's it.
There you go.
We don't need coaches yelling at other coaches because of the rules and what do you mean? I thought it was this.
Yeah.
No. Pump the brakes. Why are we all here? Next rep. Next play. We're wasting time. Next play.
Yeah.
Let's get reps,
Do you, in evaluating some of the talent that was there last weekend, did you sense that they had that competitive spirit naturally, or do you feel, generally speaking as well, that as an athlete or as a football player in this case, you can develop that competitive spirit on the field over time, or can it be coached to a degree as well with trying to teach you how to be competitive but in the right way while playing football?
Everything the coaches at the highest level are trying to do is make you compete on a daily. Make you feel like there's food on the table and there's only a certain amount of people that get access to it. So you have to fight and climb to get access to the food. That's getting reps. That's, working up the way with the ones, you know what I'm saying? That's being called on in 2 minutes on the offense where the coach is like, Steriti, you're in for the 2-minute drill with the ones. You know what I'm saying? There's so many levels where you want to be in that position. Now, when I look at the athletes that we had this weekend, the competitive nature was there. These Jersey kids want to compete. They all had it, So you don't have to coach some of these Jersey kids, especially the ones who show up to our tournaments, because they want to compete. They're going out of their way to purchase a ticket and be a part of an event to go compete at a tournament. Like that's what you're going to get. Now,
there you go.
Are there some kids who once they, get down a little bit, once their team has a bad record, they tuck their tail and they stop playing hard and they don't come the second day and they ain't coming back? Sure. But that kid will never be great in football until he gets back, he puts his cleats back on, laces back up, brushes it off, takes it on the chin like a man, and goes back out there and makes plays. What are you going to do? I played against Old Dominion. We were up 43-21 in the third quarter. 43-21 or 43-27, whatever it was.
Okay.
A little bit left in the third. We lost 64-61. I ran for 200.
Wow.
I sat there in the locker room. Taylor Heineke threw for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Oof.
I sat there in the locker room just completely exhausted. I had nothing left.
Sure.
And I couldn't be ashamed. We lost flat out.
Yeah.
So what do you do after you lose? You take it on the chin. You go to the drawing board. You watch the film. You see where you made your mistakes. You see where you did the good things. And you get ready for the next week and you go win the next one.
There you go.
And it starts with the first day of practice.
Sure.
It starts with the first day of treatment. It starts with the first day of film. Like, that's the cycle. What does Bill Belichick say? I'm on the Cincinnati. Like, I don't got time to talk about last week. The film's in the past. We already broke it down. We broke it down Sunday night. I had my staff break it down. Kids, everyone had it in their file Monday morning. And by Monday afternoon, we were watching it, whatever. Like, that's the highest level. So what can we do at the high school level for these kids in this area to get exposure, to learn how to compete at a higher level where now you're not playing dirty and you're not like shoving kids, like you're just getting that work, Right. That's the atmosphere we want to create.
And you got another tournament coming up next month, Saturday, July 8th, up at Kane University. What is it? What are some of the things that you want people to know about this next Elite 7v7 football tournament coming up next month?
July 8th. It's a one-day tournament at Kane University. It's going to be a very similar structure of our second day at Jackson. Every team's guaranteed 2 games, 2 20-minute games. So you get 2 20-minute games and you get a 20-minute 1v1 period. So you get a whole hour of work, with top-level exposure. We only got 1 day there. So, But if you win, you lose 1 game and you win out, you could play more than 2 games.
There you go.
So, like, you do have potential to play 3 to 4 games in 1 day.
Okay.
And basically, most likely like a 10 a.m. chicken, and then we're going to run through the script, probably get around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and kids can head home. Basically, on our website, elite77football.com, registrations will open up, I believe, this Sunday.
Okay.
We want everyone registered and signed up as soon as possible. We got to get the uniform orders in as soon as possible. And I'm excited for this one because we're sticking to the same structure. We have our little thing, 6 teams right now. Let's stick to a 6 team, maximize your rosters. Maximizing it is 12 kids to a team. You're looking at 72 participants if they all maximize their roster.
Sure.
And you don't want more than that on a field when you're doing a camp style, team-oriented thing. Imagine having 6 universities practicing together. That's what we're doing. We're taking 6 different teams,
that's a good way to put it.
They're competing together, and we're doing drills together, and then we're coaching them up, and it's basically pass game. They're getting pass game periods with live coaching without like being affiliated with a college or a high school coach just yet. Okay. We would like high school teams, but there's different seasons for that. A high school team can't come in January, February, March. Yeah. They can't come. And that's when we want to be running our tournaments. So kids are working year round.
There you
Once
go.
the season's over, all right, you want to shoot jump shots, that's cool. But on the weekends, you might have to call out sick and come sling that thing. And a kid like Jason Lahara, he's flying in Saturday, July 8th at like 9 a.m. in Newark. And he's driving right over to Elizabeth to come compete. For Team FMB. That's the kind of people we want, kids who don't want to miss out on the opportunity to compete no matter what.
Yeah.
So kids who are overlooking it, go ahead. That's cool. Good luck. Find your way, man. Everyone finds their way at some point. But what I'm doing and what my team's doing is building a platform, a national recognizable platform associated with Nike, associated with the NCSA. We have a ton of sponsors. shout out to all of them. You know, I can't really run through them all. We'll be here all day. And we're going to move forward with national, you know, sponsors in the future, banks.
That'd be awesome.
You know, things like that, because this is great for kids. It's great for community. And, you know, it's fun. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Kids come away with it. They learned something, and they had a lot of fun. What else can you ask for? And they only spent $50 this past tournament. It was $50 for 2 days of work.
It's not bad.
And that was because we just wanted to really get as many kids there and keep this thing going. Like, show people we really are invested in the kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, everything has a cost when you're doing big events, but we're willing to, you know, to make some sacrifices to make sure the kids, you know, get the most out of us.
For sure. Nico, well done. You and everybody else there at the Elite 7v7 football tournament in Jackson last weekend. A lot of competitive players, a lot of teaching moments as well, and I think it's a win, you know, for this part 2, and looking forward to part 3 over at Kane University next month.
Oh, yeah, July 8th. You know, registration's opening up Sunday. You know, Team FMB has an automatic bid invite, so that leaves 5 slots open. We did ask some teams if they want to come, but nobody's confirmed. So there'll be 5 entries open, you know, 10 to 12 players per team. And, yeah, Nike dry fit shirts and shorts, you know.
There you go.
These kids have to register. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The sooner they register, the sooner we get the order out and we get rolling.
Get on it, everybody.
That's it.
Get yourself an opportunity to go play and showcase your skills.
That's it. You know, and anybody who has any questions, you know, you could contact us anytime. You find us on Google. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify. We have a podcast, the E7 Podcast. We talk high school sports. We bring high school athletes on, college athletes, college coaches, and we kind of just try to be another avenue for kids to learn from the higher ups, and also for kids to get exposure for themselves, get them out there.
For sure.
And to learn how to get interviewed, because if you're going to be the guy, eventually there's going to be a microphone in your face. So
be well spoken.
That's it.
Yeah.
So mentorship, you know, doing our best over here, Vin.
There it is.
That's
doing
it.
great work.
That's
doing
it.
a great job so far.
You know, and we're just getting started.
There we go. Can't wait for the next chapter.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
There we go.
That's
Nico,
it.
Thanks again for taking out the time.
Thank you, Vin, as always. God bless.
That is Nico Steriti, founder of the S3 Guru and Elite 7v7 football tournament. You can go to their website for more information and sign up for this next Elite 7v7 football tournament up at Kane University, Saturday, July 8th. And we'll give you all the details as well at 943thepoint.com. More Shore Sports Talk on 94.3 The Point, sponsored by Shoreline Wealth Management, right after this.
Whether you are in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity. Shoreline's system is straightforward. They will understand your financial circumstances, identify goals, analyze current plans, and customize a path to position you to reach your goals. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.